This is World News Tonight, Sunday.
Congressional negotiators today agreed on the outlines of what would be sweeping tobacco legislation. The proposal includes a $1.10 increase in the price of a cigarette pack by the year 2003, but sticky issues appear to remain, including the stickiest of them all: what, if any, legal immunity the tobacco industry will get. New details tonight on the case of a former hospital worker who says he conducted dozens of mercy killings in Glendale, California. Here's ABC's Jane Clayson.
At Efren Saldivar's home today, still no sign of the 28-year-old respiratory technician who confessed to killing as many as 50 seriously ill patients. Saldivar has not fled from police, his brother says, but from all the attention.
This guy got into the medical field because he loves to help people. He's not no killer.
But more information is surfacing in an affidavit in which Saldivar admitted during a polygraph test that he failed to provide care for patients, that he basically suffocated a patient by joining respirator breathing tubes together and blocking the flow of air, and that he injected another patient with medication that led to paralysis and death. And Saldivar claims in his affidavit that he got the idea to use lethal injections from a television news report about another therapist killing patients the same way. Saldivar has worked at 3 other hospitals during his career, but none has information about any possible wrongdoing. Today, a hotline has been flooded with calls from families with information about deceased relatives. And police say they need evidence from just one body to prove a crime, even though that may be very difficult.
Any answers that might be obtained as far as looking for certain chemicals or breakdown products and such, probably not going to legally stand up.
And so for now, under California law, without any evidence, Saldivar's confession is not enough to arrest him. He faces a hearing on Tuesday on whether his license should be permanently suspended. Jane Clayson, ABC News, Los Angeles.
It's become commonplace to see the most sensational criminal trials on TV these days. That is, unless they take place in federal court where cameras are banned. But that could soon change. Here's ABC's Carla Davis.
34 states allow cameras to relay the drama and tedium of criminal court. Trials from Boston to Los Angeles have intrigued the nation. But inside federal court, defendants like Timothy McVeigh are caught on sketch pads. Cameras are off limits. That is something a bill making its way through Congress seeks to change.
The court system is the least understood, the least known by the public. Letting cameras in the courtroom will let people understand what's going on in our courts, for better and for worse.
You look at this array of photographic equipment, that's intimidating.
Critics point to the O.J. Simpson trial to show all that is wrong with televising a high-profile trial and accuse attorneys of playing to the camera as much as to the jury.
If I put this kneecap on, who am I?
Simpson attorney Johnny Cochran, Court TV, and other media are lobbying to get cameras inside federal court. And ironically, the father of murder victim Ron Goldman is on the same side of this issue.
I think when people know what's going on, there's less likelihood that there's any monkey business, dishonesty, lying. And if there is, then everybody sees it, and then actions have to be taken.
The bill only suggests a 3-year experiment, but many federal judges and defense attorneys worry that cameras in court would unfairly influence witnesses, jurors, and the public.
Televising the process distorts it, inevitably, and it's a complicating factor for a criminal defendant and his attorney during the course of a trial.
Congress could vote on the bill this summer. However, even if it passes, individual judges would still have the power to keep cameras out of their courtrooms. Carla Davis, ABC News, Capitol Hill.
When we come back, why some people are saying goodbye to Wyoming. There is little doubt that where the economy is concerned, these are the best of times. In February, personal income was up for the 2nd month in a row. Unemployment was at a 24-year low. Almost everywhere you look, the economy is booming. Unless you look in Wyoming. ABC's Tom Foreman on the reasons why.
Devil's Tower National Monument rises above northern Wyoming as one of the West's most recognizable landmarks. But out in this remote region, sometimes residents feel like the devil himself is holding their state back.
I'd say the economy is stagnant and it's not growing.
Sometimes maybe our remoteness becomes an obstacle.
While the rest of the West is booming, Wyoming is going bust. Declines in oil and mining, the mainstays of the economy, have meant fewer jobs, fewer hopes. With only 500,000 residents, it is the least populated state in the nation. Jim McMullen heads a committee to recruit business. He says maybe they should have gone after more tourism, more manufacturing years ago.
Probably where we in Wyoming failed in the course of the last 15, 20 years was to recognize the need for diversification.
It's very sad.
Even those who want to stay are struggling. Rosie Gallegos and her husband have enjoyed living here for decades, but now his oil industry job has been moved to Texas, and they are moving with it.
We have 4 children that have graduated from high school here, and not one of them will be staying because there's really not anything for them to do.
Certainly some parts of Wyoming are doing well. Many thousands of tourists come to see the Grand Tetons and Yellowstone National Park. But so much of this state is just like this, vast and wild and achingly empty. As so many friends and neighbors move away, those who remain are trying to look at the bright side.
Well, it's kind of nice, really, because you don't have to fight the traffic as bad.
But sometimes they wish the good times in the rest of the country would pass their way. Tom Foreman, ABC News, Wyoming.
In foreign news today, a military plane crashed in northern Peru. At least 28 people have died. The aircraft managed to avoid dozens of homes before it slammed into a drainage canal. The plane was evacuating more than 50 people who had been stranded by El Nino-triggered floods in Peru. Secretary of State Madeleine Albright has told American Jewish leaders that the Mideast peace process is in trouble. And today, U.S. negotiator Dennis Ross met with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, trying to nudge Israel back to the bargaining table. Just ahead, why Tennessee's Lady Volunteers might just be the best ever. Titanic's 11 Oscars helped fuel the film to another box office win. That's 15 weeks in a row. No sign of sinking yet. And John Travolta hit a rare Hollywood double. The revival of Grease came in second. Primary Colors rounded out the top 3. And finally tonight, it is Fashion Week, when all the designers gather in New York to show the clothes they hope you'll buy and wear this year. We are especially struck by one item they are pushing for both men and women. Now call me old-fashioned, a stick in the mud, out of date. But I think they've got a problem with this. But then I didn't think the Nehru jackets would last. Here's ABC's Juju Chang.
On a moonlit night, in a twinkling ballroom, Robbie and Larry Kennedy cut a handsome silhouette. And there's a reason. They're both wearing corsets.
You're not a perfect body, which most of us aren't, and it feels good to be feel like you did maybe 30 years ago.
I want it to look like a fellow with a trim figure.
Now 53, Larry is trying out his first corset.
I can't say enough good about them.
He was inspired by his wife, who owns 9. A corset may seem like a masochistic remnant from another era, but not anymore. This spring, the old-fashioned underwear is now high-fashion outerwear on the latest magazine covers, with starring roles in movies and a supporting role elsewhere.
Does it hurt, though?
Not at all.
It looks like it might hurt.
No, it doesn't hurt at all.
If you're wondering why someone might subject themselves to a tight-fitting corset, one reason is a tale of the tape. A woman can easily go from, say, a 26-inch waist to a 23.
I'm amazed. I'm actually stunned.
While overall clothing sales have been flat for the past few years, sales of corsets and other shapewear have grown 15% in the past 2 years.
We, in fact, in the past 6 months have doubled our internet orders off our website alone. And the demands are incredible. We cannot keep up with it.
And these modern-day corsets are not cheap. In this San Francisco workshop, corset makers sketch, clip, stitch, and sew custom-made garments that could cost $400 each.
The hourglass shape, and that's what it gives me. It enhances the hourglass shape.
And how do men react to her new shape? Christine is part of a new generation of women and men.
My lovely wife.
Who are using a time-tested technique to fight the battle of the bulge. Juju Chang, ABC News, San Francisco.
I know what you're thinking, but I'm not. Kevin Newman has a look at Good Morning America for this week.
Well, this week in our Parent to Parent series, how to keep a divorce from hurting the kids. Plus, it's 35 years of General Hospital. We're going to celebrate with some of its stars. And one of my favorite guys, Tom Hanks, is going to be here on Monday. Good Morning America. Make sure you join us.
And that's our report for tonight. I'm Aaron Brown in New York. For all of us here at ABC News, good night.